Hi, how you all doing? As I promised, I was going to drop you some story time and I was going to drop you some nuggets from Nehemiah. Now, I don't know when the last time you read a Bible or just the last time you heard about a person, a individual out of the Bible whose name was Nehemiah. So I'm pretty sure if you've lived in the United States of America, you've heard of what's called the Bible. And you've heard of what's called the Book of Nehemiah. Did you know that Nehemiah has so many nuggets in it that will teach you about the human experience, that will enlighten you about what it cost you to build the wall? Now, are you a corporate lady who has been working in corporate America as a customer service agent? You can be a cashier, you can be a bagger, you can be anything from a call center agent all the way to an assistant property manager, all the way to the top of what we call the Shannon Nine. So it doesn't matter. You work in corporate America, you work in a corporation because all companies pretty much in America are corporations. Okay, so let's get to the point, corporate ladies. I really want to talk to your heart today. Have you been experiencing what I call people laughing at you, people talking about you, people conspiring against you, people making fun of you, and even to the point of calling you names? And you're trying to figure out, what is this thing? Is it God, like they're telling you? Is it karma? Or is it bad luck? What is it? I don't think it's any of that. Come closer, corporate ladies, just a little bit closer. I want to remind you of this one thing. When you are building the wall, when you are building the wall, you are going to come up against great opposition. And in that opposition, this is what I'm going to talk to you about today, the book of Nehemiah. So I'm going to do what's called story time. So I'm going to be reading to you off of my phone. If you stay with me, you're going to get some nuggets. You're going to get some inspiration, and you're going to get some things that if you keep checking back with this video, it will just keep reminding you to stay on your path, stay on your vision, and to keep building what? The wall. All right, so bear with me. I am pulling up this information, okay? And we're going to get right into it. So, again, let's get to it. Now, whenever you choose to change or to do good for yourself and for others, usually you are met with opposition. Again, what is that opposition? Because a lot of times you're looking at your life like, dang, I'm being hit left and right. But what is this? Sometimes you think you know, sometimes you don't. But let's dig a little bit into Nehemiah and see what he was going through when he was building the wall. Sometimes it comes very subtly, the opposition, and at other times it comes strong, open, open resistance. What do I mean by that? So sometimes the opposition that comes against you is real subtle. It'll come at you, and if you're looking on the surface like anybody else, you'll be like, oh, it's nothing. But if you're discerning with your spirit, you'll be like, no, I felt that. I sensed that. That's not right. And at other times, it is blatant. It's all up in your face. You can't deny it. You can't control it. You know it's straight opposition, right? Now, it's usually people who can be the source of such problems. And you never are going to know when and where this opposition will come from. Now, this little part of the expert I read from someone that I picked this up, and I just want to remind you of this. Sometimes the opposition, and many times, comes from people you don't even know, and sometimes people you do know. Now, you never know where this is going to come from, how it's going to come, when it's going to come, from where it's going to come, but it comes, right? You deal with it every day, right? Now, what insights and principles can we learn from Nehemiah's life? What are the things that we can take from what his experience was, that we can look at our experience and say, and it gives us such great insight and such wisdom on opposition. I want you to stay with me. I promise you I got you. Guess what? Because the book of Nehemiah is good if you've ever really sat down and broke it down and read it. Now, story time. It all starts with a desire that Nehemiah had. He knew that the walls of Jerusalem were downtrodden and broken down. He had one goal in mind, one focus in mind, and that was to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. Again, his one focus was to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, meaning bring back life to his people, to bring them out of destruction to a purpose and a meaning again in life. I want you to stop right here and I just want you to ask yourself, how many times have the walls you've seen throughout the earth, throughout experiences, throughout peoples, throughout communities, throughout circumstances, throughout your own life, throughout situations broken down? And how many times have you bore witness into your heart and you said, I got to say something, I got to do something, I got to fix something, I feel the need. You understand what I'm saying? That's where Nehemiah was concerning the people of Jerusalem. He had a desire to build the walls. Now, he was building an actual wall, but he was also dealing with the spiritual implications of the children of Israel, right? Now, building the walls of our today could mean anything from your family to your finances to your dreams and goals to your community, a particular system that is broken within the industry that you work in, all the way from just, I don't know, fixing systems or making new systems. Anyway, that's a part of building the wall in your life, right? First, like Nehemiah, don't just jump. Take time, pray. So that way you can seek wisdom and you can seek guidance. Also, next, what you want to do, like Nehemiah, is you want to understand that anything that is good within your heart that you desire has already been placed there by your creator, and it is asking you to act. It is telling you you must act. It's giving you insight into what you will be acting upon. And it's going to take courage. It's going to take belief that you can do it. And it's also going to demand that you know that life has your back. Again, it's going to demand that you know, not that you think, but that you know that life has your back as you begin to build the wall. Do you understand that? So again, you're looking at all the opposition in your life and you're looking at the different circumstance you're going through. It could be health, it could be anything. And you're thinking, okay, I gotta build this wall. And you're dealing with this opposition, right? Well, that's what the opposition is all about. It's about preventing you from building that wall. Now, why is this so important that we dive into Nehemiah a little bit? I'm gonna tell you why, and I want you to pay close attention. Nehemiah was faced with opposition from within and without. There were a total, I would say, about 6 things that he was suffering during the time of building the wall. And I want you to pay attention closely. I'm gonna give you a short version, and then I'm gonna give you the detailed version. We're gonna go into detail about the short versions that I'm gonna hit on. Now, the short versions are this. When his enemies heard, listen closely, because when your enemies hear, not only when they see, but when they hear, they get discombobulated. So anyway, his enemies heard that he had came to build a wall and to seek welfare of the people. Listen, to build a wall and to seek the welfare of the people. Now you know anytime you building a wall, it's gonna help other people, right? Is seeking the welfare of other people, right? That's why the opposition is great because it's all about keeping people where they're at and keeping people in bondage. So anyway, when they heard about it, they were grieved. His enemies were grieved. It grieved them. Can you imagine being grieved? It grieved them. Not only did it grieve them, this is the short version now, they laughed him to scorn. They took great indignation against him and they mocked him. They despised him. They conspired to come together and fight against him to hinder the work. Listen, this is some good stuff. They conspired to come against him. They conspired together to fight against him, to fight against the purpose, to fight against the plan, to hinder the work. They did now. This is powerful. Pay attention, y'all. They sent out a prophet to prophesy fear upon him. Imagine that. Because fear paralyzes, fear stops you, fear blocks you, fear possesses you, and it does all kind of things, right? But the main purpose is to prevent you from doing the thing you set out to do. So they sent out, it didn't say a false prophet. Y'all better check this out. It says they sent out a prophet to prophesy fear on him. You know what they did also? They pretended to care and they lied to him and told him to come to the temple, but inside of their hearts, they were conspiring to take his life. Now, they had to pretend to befriend him, to get him to come to the temple so that they could take his life. Now, that's a that's something else that Nehemiah went through. But I want you to take a close, deep look at your own life and just take a breather for a moment. Even if you have to stop this video, just breathe and think about your life and think about how your enemies are grieved. Think about how they laugh and they scorn you. Think about their great indignation, and indignation means great anger. Think about mocking, despising you, calling you names. Think about conspiring against you so they can hinder your plans. Think about how many times people prophesy blessings to you and then turn around. Next thing you know, they speak in curses and you trying to figure out what the heck. You just prophesied last week what God was going to do. Now you done changed it up. Well, that's what Nehemiah was going through. And not only that, they pretended to care about him so much that they told him to come to the temple. But they only wanted him to come to the temple so that they can prevent the work by destroying him. That's powerful, y'all. And I know you think, oh, that's big, but it's really not. These same energies operate throughout your plans, operate throughout your life as you're trying to build the wall. Again, those walls represent whatever is important to you, whatever is inspiring to you, whatever it is that you are focused on, trying to build not only for yourself, but for your communities and for anybody else you feel the need to. There will be opposition. Now, corporate ladies, let's dive a little deeper. Let's actually see what was going on that would cause his enemies to come against him like that. See, we need to dig off into it. Why were they like that though? There's a difference between somebody saying, "Oh, you ain't gonna never be nothing in life," versus going through those great lengths to try to stop you, block you, hinder you, prevent you, and screw you over. What makes people go to those great lengths? Well, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into those shorter terms that I just mentioned off because we really need to get insight into Nehemiah's actions and some of the actions because for every action, like they say, there's a counteraction. So if you have an action to build the wall, there's a counteraction to keep you from building the wall. Do you understand that? Okay. Now, right now, I just want to stop and say this one thing. I want you to save this video just in case you can't watch it all. I want you to be able to, and so you can watch it later because I really want you to get into these insights. It's important. And then I want you to also, when you get through listening to this video, you need to go read Nehemiah for yourself because there's going to be some things that I didn't put all in here because I can't put it all in here. You understand what I'm saying? It's called the book of Nehemiah for a reason. But I just wanted to pinpoint some things so maybe it can inspire you to remind you that these are the things that happen. Okay? And then I want you to like the video and please share it. Just share it. You can follow me on Instagram at the TASS Show. That's the TASS Show. And you can also follow me on YouTube, the IBK Speak Show. IBK is spelled ABIKE. And it's called the IBK Speak Show. Now let's dive in, ladies. Let's go. Now you're gonna see me reading from my phone. I type these notes up, and so I want to read them to you. But I hope also that it inspires you, okay? So let's go. And they said unto me, the remnants that are left of captivity, there in the province are great affliction and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem is also broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. And it came to pass when I heard these words that I sat down and I wept, mourned, days, and fasted and prayed to the God of heaven. Think about that. So what Nehemiah was doing, he was asking some of his old buddies, "Hey, what's going on with the people who was left from the captivity? What's happening with them? What's going on?" And he said, "Man, they broken down. Man, they messed up. It's so much going on. Even the walls is torn down." And Nehemiah felt and knew right then and there because he knew what it was like. He knew the captivity and he wept. Let me ask you a question, corporate ladies. How many times you look around in your world and you see stuff that's so destructive and you think to yourself, wow, not only have you came to a awareness of your own life and you begin to realize, that could have destroyed me. But you realize the things that you're looking at can also and is also destroying others. I'll give you an example, hip hop. There's a lot of negative hip hop out there. Lots and lots and lots of it. It's so destructive. When I say destructive, y'all, it's destructive. And we know it to the mind, body, and spirit. Not only are a lot of the rappers dying, but also a lot of the young people are becoming self destructive and a whole bunch of things. Now, when I grew up with rap and I grew up with some hardcore rap. And I look at my life and I say, wow, at that point in time when I was that young and where I was at in that place in my life, that's what I mean by looking at the broken down walls. And that's just one example. There's so many examples in the world, and only you know what touches you. But looking at the broken down walls in our society, in America, in our families, in our lives, just these broken down walls, right? And depending on who we are and what we're touched by and what we move by, those are the walls that we want to build. But again, there's going to be opposition. Now, pay attention. When he heard it and he wept, this is what happened, y'all. And it came to pass when I heard these words, I sat down and wept and mourned certain days, fasting and praying before the God of heaven. Pay attention, y'all. I'm fast forwarding. When Sanballat, now listen to this, and I'm pronouncing it wrong, so let me try to pronounce it right. When Sanballat, the Hornite, and Tobiah, the servant, the Ammonite, heard of it, it grieved them exceedingly. Listen closely. It grieved them exceedingly. Anybody know the King James Version? You know it's poetic, right? There was a man that was going to come and seek the welfare of the Jews. So when you begin to have this desire, when your energy realm begins to change in the universe, there are influences that can pick up on it. And it's going to grieve them exceedingly. Why? Because it's not just about you. This thing that you're going to do in life, this wall that you're building, is going to help others, right? And it's going to grieve people exceedingly. Now, I want to remind you, corporate ladies, that sometimes we talk a little bit too much. We really do. Pay attention to this. So I came to Jerusalem and was there 3 days. And I arose in the night and I saw few men with me. Neither told, no, I'm sorry. And I rose in the night and some few men with me. In other words, he had a small company with him. Neither told I or any man what God had put in my heart to do at Jerusalem. Neither was there any beast with me, save the beast that I rode upon. Now, he says, neither did I tell any man what God had placed in my heart to do. That's why I said sometimes we talk a little bit too much. We do. Because what we fail to realize that even when we're sharing it with friends and families and all that kind of stuff, and people who do care, the universe is still picking up on your vibration and it can hear and it can perceive. So there are certain strategies and things you need to have in place when you are planning things and certain resources, because when people hear you in the universe, there will be actions that will be taken. If you on that level, you know what I'm talking about, y'all. Listen up closely. But when Sanballat the Hornite and Tobiah the servant, the Ammonite, and Geshem the Arabian heard of it, they laughed us to scorn and despised us and said, what is this thing that you gonna do? And who are you that you're gonna rebel against the king? Listen, y'all. Did y'all pick up on that? Now, it's not just gonna be your race fighting against you. It's going to be the Hornanites, the Ammonites, the Arabians. How many people know that you got different races fighting against you? It's not just a black and white thing. When you're gonna accomplish something in life, honey, you're gonna have the Ammonites, the Gishonites, the Arabian Nights, and every other night after you. All these nights gonna be after you, honey. And you trying to figure out what the heck? Even your own nights, okay? Y'all pay attention now. I'm telling you some gems in here. And I arose in the night and had a few men with me. Neither told I any man what God had put in my heart to do. That means these people was already peeping game from afar. So you don't understand how spiritual it really is. He wasn't running around telling people what he was gonna do. They was hearing in the spiritual realm what he trying to do. Listen, y'all gotta pick up on this. This is real. Then said I unto them, ye see the distress that we are in, and how Jerusalem lieth in waste, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. Come and let us build the wall of Jerusalem, that we be no more of a reproach. Pay attention, y'all. He said, after we done scoped everything out, after we done saw how broken down it really is, after we can perceive with our spirit and discern with our minds what's really going on, let us get up. Let us build. Okay? That's what Jeremiah was talking to those few people about. Listen, but when Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the servant and the Amorite Geshem heard about it, laughed them to scorn, despised them. And it came to pass that when Sanballat heard that we build the wall, he was wroth. Now, there's a difference between saying that you're angry versus you wroth. WOTH. That's a whole nother level of anger, y'all. And took great, it didn't say indignation. It didn't say took indignation. It says took great, it's emphasizing it. Great indignation and mocked them. And he spake before his brethren and the army of Samaria and said, what do you feeble Jews think you doing? Will you fortify yourselves? Will you sacrifice? Will you make an end in a day? Will they revive the stones of heap of this rubbish that are burnt down? Now Tobiah the Ammonite was with him and said, even they which they build, if a fox go up, even he gonna knock it down. Y'all, these people was off the chains. Y'all gotta really listen to these people. These people were so angry that they didn't know what else to do but to just mock, sadistically mock, right? How many times in your life you've been through that? That people just sadistically mock you. You don't even know them, or you could know them, but they sadistically make a mockery of you. Okay. But Nehemiah prayed and continued on building the wall and progressing. So that's the action step that he continued. in the face of what they were doing. So built we the wall, and all the wall that joined together unto the half thereof. For the people had the mind to work. Pay attention. Let me break that down. So they built the wall, and all the wall was joined together. For the people had the mind to build. Have you ever heard that old saying that says, anything you set your mind to do, you can do? That's what that's referring to. I'm just taking these nuggets out of there so just to inspire us and to remind us to continue on as we build our walls. But it came to pass, here go these enemies again, y'all. They persistent. That when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabians and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were made up and that the breaches began to be stopped, they were very wroth. Mm. And they conspired, here you go, y'all, all of them together to come and fight against Jerusalem and to hinder it. Now that's very important, y'all. They laughing, they mocking, they making fun. They asking them who they think they is. Have you ever heard those people talking about who you think you is? Where you think you going? Same thing, y'all. We're dealing with common today, but these are the same things that were happening then. Lets you know nothing is new, right? But they came against them to fight against them so that they can continue to hinder the work. How many times people have tried to hinder you over and over and over? Pay attention. Nevertheless, we made our prayer unto God and set a watch against them day and night. And Judah said, the strength of the bearers are burdened and is decayed. And there is much rubbish, so that we are not able to build a wall. Now, this is inner opposition now. They're beginning to doubt themselves. Nehemiah never doubted, but the people he was working with began to doubt. How many times you got this vision, you're going, because it's always the vision carrier that carries to the end. Sometimes people will stay on board, sometimes people will drop off. That's just a part of life, y'all. Sometimes everybody will drop off, but if you got the vision, you got to continue on, because as you continue on, people will come aboard, although the others fell off board or whatever. He said, and our adversary said, pay attention, y'all. I'm telling you, this is some nuggets. And our adversary said, they shall not know, neither shall they see, till we come in the midst amongst them and slay them and cause the work to cease. I'm going to wait till they go off and I'm going to read that again because that's good. Y'all got to pay attention. And our adversary said, they shall not know, neither shall they see, till we come in the midst amongst them and slay them and cause that work to cease. They were plotting, y'all. They was planning, y'all. They was scheming. In other words, we're going to withhold from them information. We're going to withhold from them insight because we're going to come amongst them and slay them to stop this work. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Them enemies be at work, don't you? They be at work. And it came to pass that when the Jews were dealt by them, they said unto us 10 times, from all the places whence she shall return unto us, they will be upon you. Therefore I sat in the lower places behind the wall, and on the higher places I even set the people after their families with their swords, their spears, and their bows. You see, they couldn't just pray. They had to fight back, honey. They had to fight for that dream. And that in that case, that dream was the wall. They couldn't just sit there and say, oh Lord, help us. They had to get up and fight. Okay. And I looked and rose up and said unto the nobles and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is a great and terrible, and will fight for you. And it came to pass When our enemies heard that it was known unto us, and that God had brought us counsel and brought their plans to naught, that we returned all of us to the wall, every one of us to his work. Y'all see that? I hope y'all getting some nuggets out of that. And more importantly, I hope you go read it for yourself because you're going to gain the insight that's going to speak to you. I just wanted to pull those nuggets out of there. Like you got to see how these enemies operate because how they operating then, that's nothing but a human book being written. It's how they operating today. They just a little bit more savvy with words. They not speaking in the King James poetic version, but it's still the same tactics, same means, same type of warfare. It's still the same thing, y'all. Okay. So I just wanted to pull that out for you. Hope that inspires you. I want you to understand this one thing also. Enemies have a remarkable trait, believe it or not. I'm telling you, they have a remarkable trait. You know what that trait is? They are persistent. It could be 10 years later, they'll still be persistent. Listen to me closely. When you're at the bottom, they work to keep you from going to the top. And when you're at the top, they work to drag you back down to the bottom. Enemies are highly, highly strategic and they are highly, highly persistent and they never give up. And I always say to myself, and I'm telling you too, if we had that much inside of us and we use that energy in a positive way, not in a negative way like those enemies do, but in a positive way, I believe that we can accomplish more and do more and be more. Okay? So I just wanted to point out some of that stuff. And so that you would know that it's crazy like that. And I also want you to understand this that they were still persistent even after the wall was built, even after everything died down, they were still persistent. It says, and they reported his good deeds before me and uttered my words unto him. And Tobiah sent letters to put fear upon me. They were still at it, y'all. Still at it. Again, for the full story, you can either read your Bible or you can Google the book of Nehemiah and it'll just pull it up for you. Very, very powerful. Now, my final thoughts, I want to leave you with this a message to all the Nehemiahs or the Nehemiahettes in this case, corporate ladies, Nehemiahettes, this case, corporate American ladies, customer service agents, assistants, managers, supervisors, it don't matter. You work in corporate America. I want to leave you with this. Anything you desire to build, there will be opposition. I'm going to wait till they go out. Again, anything that you desire to build, that means to do, to be, and become and achieve for yourself, you will be met with opposition. That's a fact. Let me repeat that again since there's interruptions. Anything that you desire to build, that means to do, be, have, and achieve, you will be met with opposition. That is a fact. Now, how you will be met with that opposition, many times it will come from within and it will come from without. But not like Nehemiah, you just have to remember to stay steadfast, to stay focused on the vision, and when they fighting hard, fight back, pray back, and keep going. And you too, brave soul, you too will be able to achieve the things you are desiring to achieve in your life, that wall that you are trying to build. Now, I just wanted to leave you with that. I hope that in some way that was able to inspire you. And I want you to also, if you get a chance, I want you to check out a book I wrote. It's called Beautifully Broken Ballerinas. It is on Amazon. And that book is a part of building the hip hop community. building the broken down walls in our youth where the music has sat there and done a number on them. So I wanted to put a positive book out there for them to read and to have inspiration and to let them know that hip hop can be positive. Okay. So again, you guys have a great one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I know there was some intermittent noise in between, but again, you can just stop this video, rewind it, do whatever you need to do, take some notes. But most of all, what's most important, just remember those nuggets in there. Those nuggets. Because it's those nuggets that help us along the way. Have a great one, y'all. Bye bye.